Hi, I'm Ryan, and I've been flipping furniture so that I can take my wife on a vacation for our 20th anniversary. This next flip that I'm working on, I think is going to be something pretty nice. The coffee bar that I made a couple of videos ago sold so quickly and for so much that I thought I would revisit that. And about 2 or 3 months ago, I bought this cabinet, it's almost like a little Hutch, but I'm not 100% sure. I got it for 10 bucks. It's Ethan Allen. It's pretty nice, so I'm going to turn that into a coffee bar. I'm still not 100% sure on what I'm going to do as far as painting and colors and all that stuff. I'm going to work that out as we go. It's got one of those really hard plasticky tops on it. If it's okay, I might just try to buff it up and leave it that way. So let's dive into it and see what happens. So the top looks pretty nice. I think that I'm going to just maybe polish it up. I don't see any damage at all on the top, and I feel like this top coat would make it pretty sturdy, obviously, since it's been on here forever. The sides look pretty good, except for one side it looks like it does have some damage on it. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, so after further review, even though it is an Ethan Allen, the top is, I think it's just particle board or MDF with a plastic wood looking piece on the top of it, and on the sides like it wrapped around. So literally I would have to sand it down or leave it. And the more I look at it, the more I don't like the color. I don't like the fake wood grain. So everything that was before this part, forget about it. Most of it anyways. I am going to remove the top. I went and got this handy little tool to take the screws out. Also, I thought I would get a couple pieces of wood to replace the top. But I already had a bunch of these 2-inch, 2x1 inch oak strips. So I think I'm going to cut a bunch to make the top. This is what they look like here, and I have enough to easily make a new top for that. So I'm going to remove that, cut these into I think it's 24-inch sections, glue it up, and then I'll be able to attach it tomorrow. And then that will also make it cool because this is what I plan on making the legs out of also, so it'll all match. And then I think I'm just going to clear coat it. I don't think I'm going to stain it because I kind of like how it looks, and I think with the top coat on it might just make it look even better. So that's the plan for right now. I probably will test a top coat on a separate piece and the stain on a separate piece just to see if I truly like it like that. So that's where we're at. Finally, took forever to get to this point, so feels like I did nothing, but let's go and take this top off. So as you saw, the top came off pretty easy, just 8 screws, and it popped right off. No glue at all. Matter of fact, like these sections here, they're not glued in either. They just have this dovetail piece, and then slide in like that, and then they screw to the top. one screw on both sides, so I feel like they should be glued in, so I'm not sure about that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the oak down to 25-inch lengths. The original top was a 24-inch, but there was no overhang, and I think a 1/2-inch overhang would look nice. So I'm going to do that, and I think I'm going to have to actually do, I think I have enough to cover it almost exactly, but I do want an overhang, so I'm probably going to have to, I have a 4-inch piece that I'll have to cut down, and I'll probably put that at the very front. So there'll be a 4-inch, and then I think nine strips of 2-inch. They're actually 1 inch and I think 3/4 for the rest of it. So I'm going to cut those right now, and we'll see how it looks after that. So here's the oak, just dry fit. Nothing's screwed down or glued or anything. I just wanted to check the how it was going to look. I think it's, I really like the oak. Obviously oak is really beautiful, but some of these pieces, like this one, like these three, which came off the same piece, have these really nice, I don't know if the camera's picking up, really nice details in them. Also, you can see how this one's lighter, and then this whole piece was a darker piece. So I thought I would stagger those three, and then with the other three, and then this back piece really didn't have any character to it, so it's going to be in the back. But the this is that big piece I was telling you about. The it's probably 3.5 inch, which will be the very front part, which will also make it better for screwing it down, since it'll just be its own piece right there. The this front part, this front piece does hang over a little bit more. I think on the sides it's a 1/2 inch, but this looks like a 1 inch overhang, which I think is okay. I think it's going to look good, and I'm going to round over the edges when I sand it all down. So I think this, not a dramatic round, just to cut the edge off a little bit. But I think it'll all look good once it's done. And then I'm going to use the same oak, the same type of oak, for the legs right there. So I got to cut those, but that'll come later. I'm going to tackle the top first. So I got all the pieces cut. I got them laid out in the right side that I want them to face up. They were dry fit. Now how I'm gonna attach them is I'm gonna use the pocket hole jig to screw them together, but I'm also gonna glue them together. The first one that's up against the back, I'm going to stagger it inboard a little bit more, because that's where the screws go also that hold it to the top, and I don't want those two screws getting close to each other. I've never used the pocket hole jig before. It's not the Craig jig, it's a different jig that my dad gave me. So I'm going to try it out. I tested it on a scrap piece of wood, and it seemed to work fine. So now I'm just going to jump right in and start drilling these planks out and then attaching them. So that's what we're doing now. Alright, I got all the pocket holes drilled. It's laying upside down right now, so I'm going to put glue. I'm going to set them all up on their edge, put glue on that one side, and then I'm going to line them up, and then I'm going to drill the screws in. I'm trying to make it as flat as possible, but I've noticed that each individual piece of wood is not 100% flat, which obviously it wasn't going to be. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of sanding, obviously, after I get it all attached. But I'll glue it and screw it and let it dry overnight, and then I'll tackle that part, the sanding, tomorrow. So let's glue this up. So I got it all glued up, all the screws in. I think it looks pretty good. When I put it together, I made sure that I put one edge perfectly flat and straight with each other, and that left the other edge with some overhang on some pieces, maybe a 1/16 inch here, maybe a little bit more. But I knew that I was probably gonna have to cut one edge off to just make sure that everything is flush on both sides. So I'm not too worried about that. I'll just take my circular saw and slice off an 1/8 maybe. Other than that, I think it went together pretty well. I am gonna have to sand it down, or I was thinking maybe I could learn how to hand plane. If that might be something for this, I'm gonna have to Google that and YouTube it and see if that's something that might work on here. I've always wanted to try that anyways, so I might do that. Regardless though, I'm still gonna have to sand a ton of this off. Another thing I found out was that the cabinet has a shelf, but the shelf isn't with it. So I actually had some old oak flooring. It's the same color as this. I'm going to take 2 pieces of that old flooring, cut it to the right size, and then glue that together and make it a shelf, so that the top, the shelf, and the legs will all be the same oak. And I think that will probably be very attractive. I think it's going to look really, really good and drive up the price. Hopefully, let's hope that's what it does. Okay, so I got the edges cut. I was only going to cut one edge, but then I saw how nice that edge looked, and I cut the other edge too. I just literally probably took off a 1/16 of an inch on that one side and maybe an 1/8 of an inch on the other side. So now I'm just sanding it. I'm at the 180 grit, and I'll just keep sanding it until I'm at 220. I think it looks really professional, which is weird. So I like it a lot. I'm gonna keep sanding, and then I'm gonna move on to the legs, and then I gotta address the body as far as I gotta get that sanded and painted. So lots to do. Let's get back to work. So I just bought this off of Amazon. It's a rotary sander, and I went to buy one from Home Depot, like a DeWalt or Ryobi or something like that, and the price from when I was looking at them before shot up $20. So they were in the 50s and now they're up in the 70s. So I went on Amazon and I found this one, and it gets really good reviews, and it was only $50. So I decided to buy it, and now I'm going to unbox it and we can see what's inside. Alright, so first thing, we have it's the connector that goes to your sander and then to the dust collector. It also came with a bunch of sanding discs. Let's see. Alright, so this box is a magic trick to open. Here we go. Is the dust collector. So this one actually is the one that clicks onto your, wow, that's pretty nice, look at that. Oh, there you go. So you click this button here and it releases that so you can empty your dust out. That's really, really nice. So this one is the one that connects to your shop vac, which it looks like it'll fit the small one and the large one, which is cool. Oh, that is nice. You know what? It looks a lot like the DeWalt. It's got the on and off button at the front, and then it's got the speed in the back here. It's really, really nice. It feels really good and solid. Feels good in your hand. And that, besides the how-tos, that is it. Well, I think it works perfectly. It works great. I really, really like it. I'm genuinely think it's perfect. It did exactly what I wanted to do. It works. I mean, really, it just works. It does what it's supposed to do for a lot less than I would have been paying. So I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check out the specs and all that stuff. I got it off of Amazon. And then, like I said, it did come with 12 free sanding discs, which is pretty awesome because those aren't cheap either. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description. You guys can check it out. So now I'm starting to lay out how I'm going to put the legs on. It's actually more than just legs. It's it's like a whole bottom skirt and then legs. The bottom of this one isn't really made to do that because I want the legs to be and the skirt to be inset so that it doesn't come straight out. It comes in and then the legs come out. So I'm going to have to attach some wood to the inner part so that I can put the skirt and the legs on top of that, and that should give me the inset look that I'm going for. Let me show you. So here's the bottom part of the hutch, and so I'm just going to attach another piece of wood on this side like this, and then on top of that will be the skirt. So it'll be inset about 1/2 inch to 3/8 of whatever this is, be inset like that, which I think will look much better than if it was just straight. If it just came straight out to the edge there, I don't think that would look as good as if it was in here like this. So that's what I'm doing right now, and we'll get back to work now. Okay. So I'm going to run a piece from here to here, and then I'm going to have the leg come out just a little bit out to there. So the front will come up to about here, and then the leg will come out to here, giving a little more depth. Obviously it's not going to be this tall, so now I need to measure from here to here, and then make it so that I know that the legs will fit in there, and then the same for here to here. So here's what it will look like when it's finished, with this sticking out a little further than the back or from the skirt, which I think that's gonna look good. Then I got to figure out how tall I want this. I don't want it so tall, so maybe about, I don't know, 3 inches, maybe about somewhere in this area. I think that would look good. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna run a test. I have this bare enamel paint and primer all in one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test on this. I'm on this drawer right here. I'm going to do one right here where I scuff sand it, and then I put on the paint and primer with no primer, just the one. And then on the other side, I'm not going to scuff sand it at all. I'm just going to apply it. I just want to see if you do need to scuff sand. I know on some stuff you for sure need to, and with some sort of paint, some types of paint you definitely need to. But with this all-in-one, I wanted to see what the actual durability was and what the level of prep I needed to do. So since I have this set up, I'm just going to test it, and then I'll know. So, and then you'll know. So let's test this out and see what happens. Alright, this is the side that was scuff sanded. So first I'm just going to try the nail test. Well, it's not coming off, so that's pretty good. Alright, so this one was no prep at all, just painted. I think that's a successful test. I can scratch it obviously, but I think you could scratch it no matter what, but it's not coming off, which was what I was worried about, like it would come off the wood. So alright, well I think then I'll probably sand these down and then just spray paint the whole thing. Alright, after that test, I just realized I did not like that color at all. So I am just gonna, I went and I bought some just straight white. So I'm gonna paint the whole thing white. It's probably gonna take 2 coats, but we'll see. It's also really cold out, but the sun's out, so that might help drying time. And then I'm also going to, on the top part, I'm going to leave that a natural color. Just going to put a top coat on it. So let's get to spraying. So I got the second coat of white put on, and I think it turned out really nice. Seriously, spraying is such a better way for me anyways to do it. The finish is just so nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue and screw the legs together before I mount them to the bottom or to the base. And then I will flip it over and I'll put the top on and we'll coat it and we should be done. So, oh wait, no, I have all the hardware to put on, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the knobs. I would like to have put back the original knobs, except for they only came with, they were missing one. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'll have to figure that out. So, but for right now, let's just do the legs. I didn't show this, but I cut one of the edges off here. I noticed that that's what DIY wife does, and just design-wise, it looks so much better that way. So I decided to, you know, why change something that's so nice, and I did the same thing. So what I'm gonna do now is just I'm gonna start attaching the top to the base here. I'm gonna use the screws that it came with, and then screw it right into the body. I had to go buy this tool because I couldn't get my screw gun in there, and these are square drive. So I'm not going to tighten them all the way up. At first, I'm going to run them through the bottoms here, and then as soon as I get them all in, I'll go around and tighten them individually. Alright, I got the legs on, attached. I think they look great. I just attached the top. I think I'm in love with it. If I ever come across another dresser or anything that needs a new top, this is definitely the way to go. I feel like it's so much more classy, so much more rich, and I could probably ask for a lot more money because it's solid oak, the top. Now I just got to put it back together. I got to put the hardware on and the doors on and put a clear coat on it, and I'm done. I'm in love with this. I'm in love with this one too. So on the hardware, I was missing one of the poles. There was 3 poles on the drawer, and then 2 poles on each of the doors, and one of the doors was missing. So I found these poles. I think they were on Amazon. If they were, I'll leave a link in the description. But this is what they look like right there. And so I'm going to use those for the door poles, and because they're like rectangle, I think it's going to go really good with the hinges, which are also a rectangle type, rectangle-ish shape. So that should look, I think that'll look good. Now I'm just going to put all that back, all the hardware on, and we'll set it up for photos, and we'll be done. So I really like this project. I think that adding the top and the legs just really bumped it up to a new level, which is impossible. All right. So here's the before. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like, I think it was a really good starting point. And the after, with the legs and the top and painting it white, making it nice and clean. I really enjoyed this project, and I learned a ton with the leg making and the putting the top on. I won't be afraid to tackle anything like that again, so I just keep learning and growing my skill set, I guess. But I really loved this project. So that's it. This took me a little longer than usual because I did a lot of things that I did for the first time. Like building the top and building the legs, which if you guys have not watched DIY Wife, definitely go check those guys out. They're very entertaining and very knowledgeable. Probably my favorite furniture flipper to watch. So good with Dean and Andrea. Perfect channel. So check those guys out. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next flip.